What separates successful people from everyone else? Is it talent, luck, intelligence, connections? According to former U.S. Navy SEAL officer Jocko Willink, the answer is much simpler. It's ownership, not partial responsibility, not excuses, not blaming circumstances, complete ownership. In the brutal chaos of war, excuses get people killed. And according to Jocko Willink and Leif Babin in their book Extreme Ownership, the same principles that help Navy SEALs survive combat can also help ordinary people lead better lives, build stronger businesses, and become mentally tougher. This book is not about motivation. It's about responsibility. And one of its core messages is simple. When things go wrong, look in the mirror first. Today, we'll break down the most powerful lessons from extreme ownership and why this mindset can completely change the way you work, lead, and live. Part 1. Everything is your responsibility. The foundation of the book is the idea of extreme ownership. Jocko describes a tragic combat mission in Iraq where confusion and poor communication led to a friendly fire incident between Allied forces. People could have blamed bad visibility, stress, the enemy, or the soldiers involved. But instead, the leaders accepted responsibility themselves. Why? Because leadership means owning everything within your world. That means, if your team fails, if communication breaks down, if employees are confused, if projects collapse, or if goals are missed, you first ask, what could I have done better? Most people naturally blame external factors. Bad economy, bad boss, bad employees, bad timing. But extreme ownership removes excuses completely, and that's uncomfortable. Because the moment you stop blaming others, you also lose the comfort of avoiding responsibility. But at the same time, you gain power. Because if you are responsible, then you can improve things. That mindset alone separates leaders from victims. Part 2. There are no bad teams, only bad leaders. One of the most famous lessons in the book came from SEAL training. There was a boat crew that constantly lost races. Everyone believed the team members were weak. Then instructors changed the leader. Suddenly, the exact same team started winning. Same people, same equipment, different leadership. The lesson: performance often reflects leadership. Strong leaders create discipline, increase confidence, communicate clearly, and bring out the best in people. Weak leaders create confusion, fear, and excuses. This applies everywhere: businesses, sports teams, families, even friendships. If a team repeatedly fails, leadership must improve first, because leadership is contagious. Calm spreads, discipline spreads, panic spreads too. People mirror the standards around them. Part 3. Ego is the enemy. One of the biggest obstacles to growth is ego. Ego makes people defensive. It prevents learning. It makes leaders refuse criticism. And according to Jocko, ego destroys teams. Why? Because ego shifts focus away from the mission and onto personal pride. People stop asking, what's best for the team, and start asking, how do I look? In combat, that mentality is dangerous. But honestly, it's dangerous in everyday life too. You see it in workplaces all the time. Managers refusing feedback, coworkers competing against each other, people avoiding responsibility to protect their image. True leadership requires humility, not weakness, not passiveness. Humility, the ability to admit, I was wrong. I made a mistake. We need a better plan. Ironically, the strongest people are usually the ones most willing to admit fault, because they care more about results than appearances. Part 4. Simple wins. Another major lesson from the book is this: complicated plans fail. In war, chaos is unavoidable. People get stressed. Communication breaks down. That's why Navy SEAL leaders simplify everything. Simple instructions, simple priorities, simple communication. Because when pressure rises, complexity becomes dangerous. And honestly, modern life is filled with unnecessary complexity. People create endless meetings, confusing systems, complicated goals, and unclear communication. The result: people feel overwhelmed and directionless. Great leaders simplify. They make sure everyone understands the mission, their role, and the next step. Clarity creates confidence. Confusion creates paralysis. Part 5, Discipline equals freedom. This is probably the most famous phrase associated with Jocko Willink. Discipline equals freedom. At first, it sounds backwards. Most people think discipline limits freedom, but Jocko argues the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. For example, financial discipline creates financial freedom. Fitness discipline creates physical freedom. Time discipline creates more control over life. Mental discipline creates emotional stability. Without discipline, chaos takes over. People often want motivation first, but motivation is unreliable. Discipline works even when motivation disappears. That's why successful people rely on systems and habits instead of feelings, because feelings change daily. Discipline stays. And over time, small disciplined actions create massive results. Part 6. Prioritize and execute. One of the most practical lessons in the book is how to handle stress and chaos. In combat, multiple disasters can happen at once. Explosions, confusion, radio failures, enemy attacks, panic solves nothing. So SEAL leaders follow a simple process: prioritize and execute. Step 1, identify the biggest problem. Step 2, focus on solving it. Step 3, move to the next priority. Most people do the opposite. They panic, overthink, freeze, or try solving everything at once. But calm leadership is about narrowing focus, one step at a time. This principle works everywhere: business problems, financial stress, relationship conflicts, even personal anxiety. You do not solve chaos by emotionally reacting to everything. You solve it by staying calm enough to think clearly. Part 7, Decentralized Leadership. Another powerful idea in the book is decentralized command. In Navy SEAL teams, leaders cannot control every detail. That would slow everything down. Instead, every team member understands the mission deeply enough to make decisions independently. This creates speed, trust, and adaptability. Micromanagement destroys efficiency, and many organizations fail because leaders try controlling everything themselves. Strong leaders build capable people. They teach responsibility, critical thinking, and initiative, because leadership is not about creating followers. It's about creating more leaders. The best teams function well even when the leader is absent. Conclusion: at its core, extreme ownership is not really about war. It's about mindset. The book teaches that the moment you stop making excuses, your life changes, because ownership creates action, and action creates progress. The principles are simple: take responsibility, control your ego, stay disciplined, simplify problems, lead by example, stay calm under pressure, support your team, focus on solutions instead of excuses. Most people spend their lives waiting for circumstances to improve, but this book argues something different. The most powerful change happens when you decide, everything in my life is my responsibility. That idea is difficult, but it's also empowering, because when you own everything, you can improve anything. And that's the true meaning of extreme ownership. If you enjoyed this summary, consider subscribing for more books on leadership, psychology, discipline, and self-improvement. And remember, discipline equals freedom.